In 1971, the newly christened Ontario Place aimed to showcase the natural and cultural diversity of Ontario. The goal was to create a welcoming space where visitors could explore and appreciate the rich heritage of a region that spans from the lowlands of the Hudson's Bay to the shores of Lake Erie. With the decision to remodel the space previously used as Ontario Place's administrative parking lot, landscape architect Walter Kehm and his team at Land Inc. were tasked with creating a space that would transform the park into a vibrant public green space and waterfront destination along Toronto's shoreline. With just about 8 acres of land to work with, the team was inspired by Ontario's natural materials, landscapes, and native species to create a connection to nature and green space, embodying the essence of Ontario's natural beauty and cultural richness. Public engagement through in-person and online consultations, which also involved public consultations with the Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nation, have been a key element in the design of the park and trail, and many of these ideas are reflected in this space, where nearly 500,000 visitors enjoy the lake and views of the Toronto Harbour and skyline.
I'm Walter Kehm. I'm a senior landscape architect with Land Inc. and I'm one of the principal designers of this park, Trillium Park. I grew up in New York City and I saw trees growing out of expansion joints. I saw grasses in the middle of a road. So I developed a passion for understanding how nature grows and works in cities. So here we have a concrete jungle. How do we introduce nature into the city? Now imagine, where we are right now was 8 acres of flat parking lot. So look at this view. The best views of the city of Toronto, a parking lot. The context of this parking lot is Liberty Village, Bathurst neighborhood, Parkdale, 300,000 to 400,000 people without a park. So the design opportunities then were to create a place, a forested place, a place of landscape for people to recreate, restore mental health, physical health, spiritual health. And that was the genesis, the whole thinking, that place for people. So we sat and we discussed, what is Ontario? And we said, well, Ontario Place, waterfront, city of Toronto, it's the landscape of Ontario. How do you, as a designer, metaphor the Hudson Bay lowlands, the Niagara Escarpment, the Scarborough Bluffs, the drumlin fields of Peterborough, the pebble beaches, the sand beaches? We said, hey, we could do a lot with landform. And then we started to think of Precambrian shield. Oh, how about rocks and boulders? This is to be an exploratory landscape for people, old and young. Designing the boulder wall was all about, with different levels, people exploring, testing their hand-eye coordination, helping each other. It's amazing to me to see parents with 2- and 3-year-old children helping them climb. When we had the public meetings, there was a particular lady named Carolyn King. She was the chief of the Mississauga, the Credit First Nation. She said, my name is Carolyn King, and I'm here to talk about how our First Nations are interested in this park. Symbolically, it talks about our connection to the earth, the sky, the water, the birds, the fish, and human life, Mother Earth. She said, I started a project called the Moccasin Identifier. She had this vision of the moccasin of people walking the land. And I said, why don't we carve the granite into those stones like people walking to the water or walking back from the water? It was a wonderful blending of technology with spirituality, the First Nations. But that was only the beginning, because then we talked about ceremony. The pit over here, there are north, south, east, west stones and room for 12 people to sit around the fire. In the 1400s, 1500s, 1600s, people walked this land and they didn't have GPS, they didn't have language, they didn't have signs, they didn't have anything but marker trees. And they would bend the trees up a meter and out a meter and then up again. And they would point either to the water, food and shelter, to the water or away from the water. So a great thing about this park is that people can use their imagination and see things and intuit things and interpret it as they like, not what the designer thought. So I think that's a secret in parks design. School children can come through here and they will have a natural classroom. Geology, meteorology, biology, botany, you name it, it's here. In society today, we're increasingly finding issues of mental health. This is our stress relief point. This is where we can get out in space. We feel sense of place. We feel peaceful and calm.